Welcome to Namecast.
I like the pause. You're like William Shatner.
Yeah.
It's good. I like William Shatner. See, the thing about William Shatner is he comes up with his own concept of the comma.
The comma.
You know, there's the Oxford comma, there's the walk-in comma, and then there's the Shatner comma, which is every single word. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Namecast. It's the first episode of Season 5, Kev.
It is.
And that means
That's exciting.
We're on all the things. We're on the iTunes.
Yeah.
We're on the Google Plays.
Yes.
We're still on the YouTubes, absolutely, but yeah, so we're changing it up, switching it all around.
YouTube should look sweet, too.
YouTube should look sweet. We're trying to make a visualizer. Well, you're seeing it right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are playing this week Spaceplan.
Ooh.
Cool game, made by one dude pretty much.
Yeah.
Very excited to get into it, talk about it, you know, get into all the stuff.
Definitely.
Now, to start things off, Kev, we gotta get into it. But I figured it's a new season, and this is a great jumping in point, the reverse of what I said.
Yes.
Jumping in point, a diving point, a beginning point where things begin. And what better to talk about than who are we, so people can get a little idea for when we're talking about a game, like where we're coming from. So, you know, who are you, man?
Who we are as
Yeah,
people.
Exactly.
Deep emotional people.
Deep in our balls.
Souls.
We're disgusting. You got to know this. Yeah, okay. So what do we got, Kev?
So myself, I am a mid-20s computer science graduate who's working as a game designer. Working on mobile games. Games
All the
for the
tappity taps.
phones. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Okay.
I like playing video games.
Uh-huh.
Doing YouTube stuffs. Let's talk about the type of video games I like playing.
Yeah, what do you like?
Well, Dark Souls is my favorite game.
Mm-hmm.
But also I find like a lot of the games I like are really mechanics focused. So like Downwell is the one that like I pick up pretty frequently just to goof around in.
Also a Devolver game. I just realized that. Yeah, the other day, but yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of other stuff that I'm totally blanking on. I don't know what games I play.
Fair enough, man. It's tough. It's tough to know all the games. You're a big fan of Smash Bros?
Smash Bros, Halo, Rocket League. Yeah, those games are all
mechanics
things I've enjoyed being
heavily.
competitive in to some degree.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you were still a competitive Smash Bros player?
Yeah, sorta. Haven't played in a
Sorta,
while.
kinda. Yeah.
The scene's dying here.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Tiny little scene.
Tiny little scene goes away.
Yeah. What about you? What's a Nathan?
What's a Nathan? I'm a Nathan, and I have trouble reading my own. I'm going to say writing, but it's not writing because I didn't really write it. It's typed. I'm reading my own typing. No, so I am a chemistry student. Actually graduate tomorrow as we're recording this. So, oh boy, finally. Yeah, mid-20s as well. Hoping to be a game producer someday, but, you know, whatever. We'll see what happens. Trying to work my way there. I do develop games on the side sometimes for jams. I've been laxing on that a bit, but trying to get more focus on it. What I like in games, my favorite game is also Dark Souls, but my favorite things are stories.
Mm-hmm.
I think the video game medium is so fantastic for getting someone immersed in stories, and I think we're so new in this medium that I don't know if we're there yet. And there's so many things, you know what I mean? Like in a movie, you can just show a specific scene to an elicit emotion from the individual, but you have something like Journey, right, where that's elicits emotion and you're in entire control of the experience for the most part. So like it's finding that balance of the player having control and yet letting them have a cool experience. That's what I try and do in my own games that I make, but I'm very limited in my knowledge and stuff, but I'm trying to figure it out, trying to get there, and I also rock climb and bike and do all that crap, and we play dodgeball together.
Yeah, we do that
so that's
too.
something we talk about on occasion.
So is this how we prove that Dark Souls is the perfect game? Because me, the mechanic-loving asshole, and you, the narrative-loving asshole, both love Dark Souls.
Assholes love Dark Souls.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the conclusion we can come down to. Yeah. No, I mean, the good thing about Dark Souls, you know, we're going to probably not talk about it much in this podcast, or at least today, but the great thing about it, it has the mechanics that someone like you is interested in, and then it has a super deep lore that you may not even realize the first time going through.
So much to that world.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Exactly, which is what makes it such an interesting game for two people like us, and it works out perfectly, Kev.
Yeah.
Now, I figured we might as well get into some topics, some things, or do you want to talk about the games you've been playing?
Yeah, let's have a little update on the games.
Outside of the game of the week.
Yeah.
We should also note that next week's game of the week is going to be Inside by Playdead Studios. So it's the same guys that made Limbo.
Yep.
We did that as like a pre-thing a couple weeks back.
Yep.
So, you know, if you want to pick it up, play it, awesome. If you don't, that's fine too.
Yeah.
Just figured I'd let you guys know.
Listen along.
Yeah, listen along.
Play along. whatever it is.
Yeah, it's like
That's
Oprah's
tough.
book club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But video games.
Yeah.
That's pretty
yeah,
sweet.
and more Oprah. So what you been playing, man?
I've played a little bit more Persona. It's a
Yep.
super long game, so like I feel like I've gone from 1% completed to 2% completed.
I doubt you've gone that far.
It's 100 hours, so pretty much every hour you spend is 1%.
Is it only 100 hours? I thought it was
Yeah.
longer than that for some reason. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I've heard 95 to 105 is
Okay.
the range. Yeah. So, yeah, I've played a little bit more. Actually, I guess we're going to go straight on hours. I've gone from 4% to 5% completed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So only an extra hour. Yeah.
But I'm starting to get a little bit more freedom in the game, and
Okay.
I have a fleshed out party now, and yeah, it's pretty awesome. I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm really excited to get back to it. It's just been a busy week for me, so I've been unable to play it despite wanting to so much.
Yeah. Fair enough. What I've been playing a lot of is I'm still playing more Korma Squad. Now, if you didn't hear me talk about it last episode, it's like Power
Korma
Rangers.
Squad?
Yes.
It sounded like you said Korma Squad.
Korma Squad.
That'd be a fantastic game.
What's a korma?
Type of curry.
You just make curry and you try and make it really spicy.
Yeah.
So it's Korma Squad. Basically, you control the Power Rangers set, and it's awesome. So I'm just entering season 5 right now. But another game I picked up as well is Cluster Truck, and boy,
Truck.
howdy, it's a game and a half.
Yeah.
Talk about taking something and just running with it. Now, this almost flies in the face of my love for story, but like, I don't know, man. If you guys have ever opened up a game engine and you open up the first person template, chances are you're probably going to make something similar to Cluster Truck your first couple times just when you're fucking around. And
Just running and jumping.
Exactly. Especially when you realize you can really ramp up the speed and jump values.
Yeah.
That's it. You pretty much get a very base example of Cluster Truck. So what a Cluster Truck is it's kind of like that CSGO mod that was popular a while back. You know what I'm talking about? The one that, what's that guy?
I don't know the name of it, but I know what you're
Leafy
talking
is
about.
here would play all the time in his videos.
Fucking Leafy. Anyway.
Yeah, we're not getting into the YouTube dramas, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so it's kind of like that, whereas there's all these trucks, just like these big transfer trucks that are just driving down this path, and you're just kind of running and jumping. And whenever you're colliding with it, you can jump off. So you can jump off the side of a truck. You can kind of do like a Jean-Claude Van Damme in between two trucks. I mean, you may not be doing the splits, who knows? But and then you get cool power-ups and things like that. But it really runs with the mechanics of the game because it's ridiculous, it's foolish, and it has ridiculous and foolish music, and it's just so over the fucking top. There's trucks exploding, you're jumping up over top of stuff, you're getting these crazy powers. It's a fucking blast. I'm having a great time with it.
Yeah, I played a level.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was it's pretty fun, pretty nutty, and it feels really good to complete a level.
Oh, we both freaked out when
Yeah.
we're like, because we were stuck in it forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. So that's pretty much what I've been playing. I also played a little bit of Guts and Glory the other night, and it's kind of like Happy Wheels, if you remember that. This is an early access game, and basically, do you remember Happy Wheels at all? You played that one? No.
Never played it.
So in this game, you can play as a couple different characters, but basically you're a dad riding a bicycle with a kid on the back. And like you try and get through hazards and stuff, and when you die, it's like it's pretty funny. Like you get lobbed in half or something, and like you can just kind of do ridiculous things, but like it doesn't control. It kind of, I don't know. It fiddles with that line of like QWOP, where awkward controls, sure, but it's just not much fun. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna go back to it. I was like, oh, this could be a good thing to have in the channel, but like it's really way less fun than I expected it to be. I think if you had someone like Bombastic playing it, like someone like a PewDiePie or something like that, like maybe it could be entertaining to watch clips and highlights of it, but to actually just sit down by yourself and play the game, it's not a very fulfilling experience. It's not very exciting. It's a lot of work to it, and it seems like, what's the point?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I guess what's the point of any game? But like in this one, it's just, I don't know. It feels like you're doing all for nothing, and why bother? It's not a lot of fun getting through it all. But anyway, I figure, Kev, we might as well get into the topics.
Yeah.
Now,
The news
this week. Now, something interesting. Prey came out. Let's talk all about that, buddy.
Well, let's not talk about the game, but the drama around the game.
Yes.
Because neither of us have played it.
No, we haven't played the
I
game.
haven't really looked into reviews.
It looks
that
interesting.
much.
I was really interested in the game, but then IGN gave it a 4, and everyone else gave it really good scores. And I looked into why IGN gave it a 4. I watched the review and everything. Basically, what happened was he had an issue with his save.
Yeah.
It was corrupted, and he was unable to complete the game, which I can understand being upset about. But he said he played 30 hours of it, and he really loved what he'd played. So you know what I mean? So like
that's a weird thing to give a 4.
Exactly.
Especially
like
when you're IGN.
I can understand that you it stops your experience. That sucks. But at the same time, you're a very small amount of people getting impacted by that. You know what I mean? And there's so many other times where they can play a game and they just don't get hit by a game-breaking bug.
Yeah.
And that they gave that game a 9. But because they get hit by this specific issue, you know what I mean? Like, so many games launch with bugs. I'm not saying that it's acceptable to have it, but I think that's quite a harsh penalty. But, I mean, I guess it also brings into the idea of how much does a review actually impact sales?
I don't know. Like, unfortunately, I feel like there is kind of a bias, whereas IGN is way more likely to affect sales than, say, Rock, Paper, Shotgun.
Yeah.
Just like, they're both popular and they're both, kind of reputable in their own ways, but IGN is huge.
They are
huge. They have
huge.
a lot of views.
And I was
it's got to have affected some amount, right?
Yeah, I was really disappointed as to who they had actually reviewing the game. Now, I don't follow IGN as closely as I used to back in the day. I used to be a big IGN fan because they had some great personalities there, but most of those people have kind of left off to do their own things. But they had, if you don't know him at all, his name's Dan Stapleton.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I mean, I don't want this to be a drama podcast or anything like that, but that guy he really rubs me the wrong way. And he has a very arrogant sense about him. And it's just, I never like any of his reviews, and I rarely agree with his opinions.
Yeah.
So I'm always really upset when IGN has him review a game because it's just like, oh, I'm going to get nothing from this. You know what I mean? Like, he was that guy that got in that big flame war with Joe, Angry Joe Gamer guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and like, Dan Stapleton is the reviews editor, so he's like one of the top guys at IGN, and he's just, I don't know, I don't think he's really representing that company very well in some regards, but he probably does a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. There's probably so much more going on that I don't actually see.
Yeah.
But from what I do see, it's just, I don't know, I was really disappointed that he was the one who reviewed the game, so I went out to other reviews, and it still seems like a game I'm interested in. But what I also found was fascinating is the fact that Bethesda is publishing this game.
Yeah.
They gave out review copies. They said they weren't going to do that
I
anymore.
think that was pretty much 1 year ago that they were like, no more review copies early. And I guess they gave review copies early, but I guess it was only 24 hours early for Prey, which is like super little.
Yeah.
So I don't know why did they change their mind on that? Like, why all of a sudden? And it's silly.
Well, and something silly about it too is the fact that the day the IGN review went live is the day they actually fixed the issue that the guy had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I can understand you being upset because I can especially understand wanting to avoid issues like that for your day one patches.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you should be having that patch done beforehand, but whatever. You know what I mean? But like, it's going to impact such a small amount of players. So having a more representative sample or more representative example of your game being played by the reviewer is what you'd prefer, right?
Yeah.
So then, why bother giving it to them a little bit earlier?
I don't. Yeah, especially if like there is a day one patch coming out.
Yeah,
which is pretty important for that.
And clearly, if it makes your game a 4 when the guy said he loved it.
Yeah. I don't know. It kind of feels like both IGN and Bethesda are at fault here.
Yeah.
To be honest, but yeah, I can understand him having like a big negative mark for the game-breaking bug, but I don't think it should have affected the score. It should have just been like a giant red note at the top of the review.
Or he should have done a review in progress. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, listen, this game pretty much, it ate my save. It fucked it up. But I guarantee you, he's not the only person at IGN playing that game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there are many other people playing that game, so I don't know why they made that decision and why they wouldn't get other people in on the conversation.
I don't know.
In that instance, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know. My only assumption is that it could have been Dirty Dan Stapleton, but I don't know, man. I don't want to throw that guy's name under the mud. I don't know him that well. I just know some examples of things I've seen him do, and I'm like, dude, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Like, you just kind of boggles my mind sometimes. But anyway, I don't want to be a big negative Nancy, but Prey looks like an interesting game. Yeah. What I find really interesting about it is that you can, like, kind of transform into different objects.
Yeah.
And you kind of can like Deus Ex your way around situations. Like, there's many different ways to approach a situation, and giving you the ability to transform seems like it would really lend itself well to being able to, stealth your way through a situation, and you're not always just hiding behind cover when you're stealthing. You know what I mean? Like, you can turn into a pencil box or something.
It's kind of funny that genre of game of like, here's this kind of puzzly situation that you can accomplish in multiple different ways. It's always held to like this like holy grail is like, oh, this is super difficult to do right. Like there's no super good examples. Everybody could do it better. But whenever one of those games comes out, everybody's like, oh yeah, they did it well. And it's like there's this weird disconnect there between like, I don't know, people's expectations and experiences. Like they're saying they expect more, but also saying that they experienced what they wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it sets up that thing of when you say you can approach the situation any way you want, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, games are still at this point limited by what we can put into it as options of things that you can do.
Yeah.
We don't have self-learning AI kind of like that in that level yet.
Yeah.
But we've theorized about that on past podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't think we're at that level where you can give the No Man's Sky promise and not get burned. But I don't know, man. I'm interested by that, but at the same time, it's like, no, you're a game designer. Give me an experience. You know what I mean? That's what I.
Yeah.
I don't know. It kind of.
I don't know.
I
like
multiple paths to things, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think I prefer the Deus Ex approach, where it's like we expect you to come at it in these like 5 different ways,
Right.
and we'll make sure the design is good for those different ways. But we're also not going to limit players from doing outside of those like 5 ways.
Yeah, if you
Like,
figure
I feel
something
like-
jank out, then
Yeah,
go for
I
it.
feel like that gives them the option to have something that's fairly well designed and kind of fun to play through in kind of an
Right.
expected way, or you could be extra silly. Like, yeah, actually, this is leading to the next topic. Well, Hitman.
Yep.
The entire game is based around that, and praised for doing it super well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can go about taking down your target.
Yeah.
You can poison them. You can set an ejector seat in a jet plane to shoot them off. Like you can do so many different ways to attack it. And that's why I really think that it was so interesting that they decided to do that game in a piecemeal form.
It fit it so well.
It fit it perfectly because it seemed like people were really interested in the episodes, and each episode you could there was so much shit that you could do, and you could just play it over and over again until the next one came out.
Yeah.
And you could play that over and
There's
over
no
again.
reason not to replay it like minimum 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, and it seemed like it was a critical darling, and it seemed like a lot of people were playing it.
Yeah.
But we just find out that Hitman and Squeenix,
Yeah,
That means they're
IO
breaking up.
Interactive
Yeah.
specifically. So the
Yeah.
developers of Hitman, like Square Enix wrote them off as a loss. I'm not exactly sure what it means as far as like stock things, but it's like, hey, we're getting rid of this. We don't want it anymore.
yeah,
So we're just gonna lose the money on this. But it's a little bit of a problem because most people tie Hitman to IO Interactive specifically,
yeah,
and IO Interactive. You wouldn't think they own the IP, but I guess there is a rumor that they're going to keep the IP.
which is like
As part of the
fantastic for
loss?
them.
Yeah, which is great. Like that's what everybody would want, and
Yeah.
IO Interactive can like survive on their own, especially doing that piecemeal episodes
Yeah,
type thing. Because one problem that solves is all the upfront funding required
exactly.
to make a giant game.
But if you're making 20% of a game,
Yeah,
you can pop that out, make a good amount of money,
Especially-
then continue to make 20% of a game.
especially when they already have the engine for it too.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, they're so close to being able to just make another episode if they want.
Yeah, because I wonder how quickly at this point they probably built some great tools for themselves to be
Yeah.
able to do that. So then they can just keep popping things out.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about a subpar experience. It'll probably be on the same level. I'm hoping they don't suffer a lot of financial losses from the separation with Squeenix, but it seems like they're in a lot of people's good graces right now.
Yeah.
And it seems like they're kind of getting screwed. I don't know. My initial gut reaction when I heard that was like, fucking assholes to Squeenix.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I immediately thought. And I have a feeling that I'm not going to be the only one who feels that way.
Oh, definitely not. Especially so Square Enix announced they were dropping them and then did their quarterly earnings
Yeah.
thing. And yeah, apparently they had like a super awesome year, made a shit ton of money, thanks to like Final Fantasy and something else that I forget.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, it's weird that there's this IO Interactive weren't even like particularly underperforming.
No.
Hitman didn't sell as well as it probably could have for a variety of reasons. But to me, anyways, I'm not like a business executive or
Yeah.
like anything like
No, I
that.
get
But
what
at
you're
least
saying,
to me, like it was like, why?
Yeah.
Are they really that bad that you want to get rid of them?
Exactly. And that I don't know, that kind of brings me to a point of like, if you're getting rid of them, like, I have a feeling Rise of the Tomb Raider probably didn't do so well. What about Crystal Dynamics?
Yeah.
I guess they have them involved in some other projects, but that I don't know. Maybe there's some behind the scenes stuff that we don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably the case because they're not just. It's a big business. They're not just going to make stupid decisions.
Yeah.
There's definitely reasons going into this. Maybe it could even be personal disputes. These things are run by people.
Yep.
And that's something that's very easy to forget sometimes. Maybe it's not all business, but I don't know. I'm really interested to see what's going to come out of IO Interactive after this.
Yeah, I think we'll see some pretty awesome stuff from them if they get to keep Hitman. But if they don't, that's a big
blow to the studio.
They have to make their own new IP or start doing licensed work.
Yeah, and their big thing has been Hitman for
hope to get bought by somebody else.
Fucking like a long time. A very long time. Yeah. So I don't know. All the best out to that studio, and hope not too many people lose their jobs.
Yeah,
that would suck. But I mean, at the plus side, I imagine this is going to work out well for them. I hope, because that game was so well loved.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And like critics liked it, and fans liked it, and it's nice to see them trying to do an interesting model with how you purchase the game, which I think is very forward thinking. And something that we may be coming towards more in the future. Yeah. So I don't know. I hope things work out well for them.
Yeah, definitely.
I absolutely do. Now, going on from that, Kev, I think we're going to talk about our game of the week.
Yeah.
Our indie game of the week. Now, if you don't know, this season of Namecast, we're going to be doing an indie game every single week till we die.
Forever.
I don't know about that, but I like this concept, and I'm really happy to be pushing forward in it. And I think you picked a great game to start off. You said it to me, and I was like, I don't know, man. But I think you picked a good one.
It was a little bit of a gamble too, but it paid off. And Spaceplan is interesting.
It's very interesting. See, the game was, so the developer is Jake Hollands. Now, this guy's a really interesting character. I looked into him. He's got a website and everything. We have all the information down in the description, and you'll have other ways to get to it if you're listening to the audio podcast that we'll figure out in a bit. So he's a graphic designer and obviously a game developer as well. Now, his first work with games was in 2014 with his game called Idle, an Exhibition Play, which includes the same audio work by the guy who did the Spaceplan soundtrack, which, oh my gosh, if you aren't listening to that thing, it's on Spotify. Just listen to that on loop. I was listening to this while I was doing my write-up and some research on the game. It's so good, man.
Yeah, we got some music playing during this podcast, so if you're wondering what these sweet tunes were.
Exactly. That is Logan Gabriel, and he does some fantastic stuff.
Yeah.
It's really, it's good to set up that kind of atmosphere. Now, so his first work with Devolver Digital was as a lead artist on the 2015 game, Not a Hero. And if you remember that, it kind of has like a pixel arty style. If you remember that one, it's got a lot of nice purples and everything like that.
I don't think I ever played it.
I didn't play it either, but I was just looking at some of the art for it, and it's really nice. Now, he credits his work in the video game industry to his January 2014 dissertation called Game Design, a Maturing Discipline. Now, this guy, what are you going to say?
This is a topic I've talked about a little bit on this podcast as well, so it was kind of cool to read a full dissertation on it.
So what did you take from that, being someone who's really entrenched in game design like yourself?
It was kind of cool. It was a lot of stuff I already kind of knew, just being into game design for a while, but it was a dissertation about where game design gets its influences from, how it is different from the media we know already, such as movies and books, and such forth.
Such forth. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and just kind of talking about how the interactivity makes games different, and a lot of people's different perspectives on both games as art and what game design is.
Right. Now, it was interesting going into this game, just seeing the initial art and the opening bits.
You can tell he's a graphic
designer because this shit is tight. It's so nice looking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially towards the end. Well, I mean, we'll get into all that in a bit, but it's just, it has some interesting stuff going on in there, and it's very good. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. I do have some complaints about this game, but it's an interesting game nonetheless. Now, regarding the history of the development of the game, it started off as an online game, and its claim that he said is that it's an experimental piece of interaction based partly on a total misunderstanding of Stephen Hawking's A Brief History of Time.
Like, that sold me on the game instantly. I just laughed. I'm like, I gotta find out what he's talking about.
Absolutely, and it sets up the tone for the experience so well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not taking itself seriously at all. At one point, it's like, we're gonna Matthew McConaughey this shit. Like, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous, and it knows that it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it started off as a browser game posted
Like
on
a
JCom's.
prototype specifically. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting because I was playing through the browser game just to see the differences, and it feels to me like the proper game is just longer.
Yeah.
I think like a lot of the
They
mechanics
changed.
are similar.
He changed some stuff. I'm gonna say they a lot, but like, yeah, it's good to
It's-
remember
it's
this is
pretty-
one guy.
it's one dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He changed a few of like the items and a few of the jokes and stuff, but a lot of it is actually there in the browser prototype that's free to play. So yeah, we'll have a link to that in the description.
Yeah, so that
Good
you
to
can check it out if you want.
Yeah.
Now, this game is really interesting. They knew it was going to be weird, and it has a very heavy influence of potatoes. I
It just shows
assume
something
that's
random.
coming from The Martian. That's my assumption, but I don't
Maybe.
know. Maybe
I
it
don't
just
know.
came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's kind of like a funny joke. Like, yeah, this like, your
Well, like Portal 2 as well, right?
Yeah, it's like your spaceship AI is like talking to you. He's like, okay, let's try and start up the engine system. Nope. Let's try and start up the life support system. Nope.
Nope.
Potato system. Oh,
Good
that
to go.
works.
There you go.
Guess that's what we're going with.
Yeah. Now, they did something interesting, which is, part of the experimental nature of the game. They had a collaboration with a company called PotatoParcel, which if you haven't checked them out, oh my God. So what the company literally does is they send you any type of message on a potato.
Yeah.
And like you can send it to anyone. You could just, and like I'm not talking about anything high tech like laser printing or anything. They take a Sharpie to a potato and send it to someone. They were on Shark Tank and they got a fucking deal. It's
Yeah.
oh, what a time to be alive, Kevin. So it just shows that they were definitely willing to go kind of ridiculous with this.
Yeah.
And when I say they, I mean the publisher, which is Devolver Digital.
Yeah.
Now, as I said before, he did work with them before, and it's not their first mobile game.
Mm-hmm.
They did publish, like I said, Downwell, Ollie Ollie, and one of our favorites that we talked about in the podcast before, Reigns.
Yeah.
A very fun mobile game that I definitely recommend you check out. You get to make some choices there. Now, as I was saying, Spaceplan is the first game produced by Devolver Digital that's under their experimental heading. And I
Yeah.
think it's fitting.
In a way, yeah. I think it's honestly it's not as experimental as I expected. It's a little bit more regular of a game, but
Yeah.
it's certainly it's nice because it's very different than anything I've played.
Well, it seems like Devolver's questioning the idea, and maybe Jake is as well, the idea of is a clicker a game?
Yeah.
And
Trying to turn it into one.
I don't know. I thought I would come to a more concrete conclusion at the end of this game, but like I beat it, and I don't know. Is it a game? Well, it depends on how you define a game, and how we've defined a game for the sake of this podcast for us is that it has to have a win state and some type of less desirable state. Not necessarily a lose state, but some less desirable state, which this definitely
That is
has.
to separate it from an experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not all handheld. I mean, you do get to make some decisions.
Yeah. Oh, I think one of the big things with like a clicker game is you're always making forward progress.
Yeah.
You're mostly just affecting the rate at which you're doing that.
Yeah, because you could literally, well, I mean, I guess you have to do a couple things initially, but like you could literally do nothing after playing for 20 minutes, and eventually you'll have enough currency to get to the end.
Yeah. It'd be a very long wait.
A very long wait, yeah. So now let's get into our first kind of experiences with the game. So, what'd you have, man?
Yeah, the first time I played it was actually the prototype.
Okay.
Before it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started playing it and it's like, okay, yeah, this little clicker thing, and there was some text on the side. I'm like, oh, it's pretty funny, and like, I knew it was just a prototype for this full game, so I was just like, where does this end? And it actually went on for a really long time.
Yeah.
And I started getting pretty into the potato stuff. But I don't know where this prototype ends because I got far enough that I'm like, okay, I should probably wait for the full game to come out. But it was before I felt like the story really cemented itself anywhere.
Okay.
So I was just experiencing, the mechanics of clicking, doing upgrades to get you more watts
Yep.
to make more
Or
potato
joules
things.
if you want to be scientifically accurate.
Joules.
which is funny. It has literally a slider in the game that's like, if you want to be scientifically accurate, you can switch the watts to joules, and that's the only thing it changes.
Yeah.
Pretty comical.
As if the potato stuff's scientifically accurate as
Oh,
well.
it's totally fine. It's good. It's good.
So funny.
Yeah, very funny. Yeah, I played the prototype as well, and the one thing I really didn't like about it is, like, don't play this game on PC. I mean, unless you really like the sound of your mouse.
Plenty of people do play clickers on PC.
Really? Why? It's so infuriating.
Well, like
I guess maybe if you had headphones on, you wouldn't hear it as much.
people who play Diablo.
I guess
That
I'm
is
just
as much clicking.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm just not
so
a
much
PC
clicking.
game. It's such an infuriating noise, and the amount I was tapping my screen on this, it's like I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so we played the actual game on phone, which
Yeah.
is significantly nicer. It's just this little area you need
It's
to
a much
tap
better
and-
experience, I would say, especially if you're kind of an on-the-go person, which I'd say we
Yeah.
both are for the most part. And I like that it made me do something that I don't do very often. I don't play mobile games pretty much ever. And I liked that it constantly had me taking my phone and having a little something to do, because, you know, there'd be some currency there for you to spend and be like, oh, I haven't checked my phone in 5 minutes. Oh, boop, pop it out, buy a couple things,
Yeah.
read a funny joke in there, and then keep going.
Yeah. I think there are other benefits to the PC version over the mobile version, though.
Better UI layout, that's
Better
for sure.
UI, yeah,
Yeah.
because on the mobile one, like you have to swipe like left and right to get to the other menus.
Yeah.
And those menus have like or I think every of the 3 like different states you can be in have like 2 menus to them. So like switching between them was kind of not nice on phone. Whereas if you're on PC, all that stuff's just
The
there on
UX
screen.
wasn't certainly a buttery experience.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the fact when I would try and click on something, it would switch to another screen. And also a big complaint that I had, and maybe you didn't have this issue, but I wish he had 2 different text boxes for when it would come up with information. Now, if one was like story progression, and then one was like status updates on your ship.
Yeah.
Because if I wanted to go back and check where we're at with the story, I'd have to check through, like, I don't know, like 40 lines of like, I got you this much money, I got you this much money, you bought this. That was such an infuriating experience for me, where I was just like, why would you not separate the 2 of them?
Yeah, the other part of that too is like the status updates for what you're doing on your ship and stuff, the non-story stuff, actually, like how often you get those status updates changes based on where you are in the game, because there's some parts of the game where it's like you're getting a shit ton of them, and there's other ones where it's like very seldom.
Yeah, and I wish they had different, I don't know, different windows or something to view that, because it just felt like I was just trudging through just to try and get back to the joke, or like remember where I was in the story aspect.
Yeah.
Now, we said the story aspect. I mean, the story is pretty loose in this game. It kind of leads a lot to your imagination for the most part. There's not that much text.
Doesn't
in the actual
explain
game.
that much of like the context.
No.
For you.
No. So basically, what you're trying to do in this game is that you're orbiting around what you discover is Earth, and you figure out that there's no one living there. It's dead.
Yeah. So just for clarity.
Okay.
Full spoilers on
Yeah,
all the games we
100%.
talk about on this podcast.
100%. That's why we
'Cause we wanna
recommend
do
you play
full-
them. But if not, that's fine too. We're still going to talk about it. And if you want, just, put a pin in the episode and think to yourself, I'm going to come back after I play it. After you play it, come right back here. Give us all the clicks.
Topical.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what were you saying?
Yes.
Story stuff?
Yeah, so the story stuff. So then you then expand your view to discover that, of course, you're part of the solar system. And he's like, I have a plan. We're just going to shoot a bunch of potatoes into the sun and put a thruster on this planet so that it can be whipping around the sun as it gets bigger, as we send more and more potatoes into there.
Yeah.
In hopes that it's going to obviously swallow all the other planets, but you'll then create a black hole, which you can then go through and then end up going way forward in time and then way back in time, McConaughey style, is what he says. Yeah, and that's the eventual kind of the initial goal of the game.
Yeah.
So now, how did you find it an engaging experience, or what did you get? Because I feel like you play mobile games more often, or I'd imagine you play mobile games more often, and you should have an eye or a mind for that type of design, right?
Certainly.
I would think.
Well, it's still different than anything I've really played before, because I've never really gotten into clickers and stuff. And I don't know. I think I don't know of any other games that have put a story to a clicker.
Yeah.
In this kind of way. But I was engaged.
Okay.
I was super interested to see what was going to happen, and that initial goal. I also had so one of the coolest things about this is it set up this kind of in my mind, the concept of a clicker is like your number's just always going up.
Yeah.
And by the time you're like getting the sun really large, you're getting so many like watts
it's
per
ridiculous.
second. And like, you have like all of it in the world. Like that's obviously not going to go up anymore. So like, I thought when you expand the sun, that'd be the end of the game.
But it's not.
It's not.
So you go through time, and you then go back and then forward, and then you get back to Earth in, well, present, future day, whatever you're going to call it.
Yeah.
It's like 2079 or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, you then get on there. And did we mention this game has a strong emphasis on potatoes? Because and it has like, I did not expect a really nice 3D animation.
I know, it's like a cinematic in there.
A legit cinematic, and you open up, so your space pod pops off, you open, and it's these fucking potatoes, and they're like, potato, and I'm talking like terracotta fucking army. Just this whole massive field of potatoes on this planet, and they just say pomme de terre. There's signs.
I laughed so much at the pomme de terre.
Oh my god. Like, I did not expect that at all. He's like, oh, and your robot companion's like, fuck, let's get out of here.
Yeah, and then you have to eject off of Earth. And he's like, yes, I opened the hatch for you to get out. Yes, I closed it again.
I created another one.
Exactly. Right, I created another one to close it.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. So it's got lots of funny jokes in that.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, really one of the brilliant ideas of the game is that the best part of a clicker it's almost like a tycoon experience like that, because you're managing how you get more resources and things that will get you more resources over time, and then you can buy upgrade paths for those resources.
Yeah.
And the best part of that is near the beginning.
Yeah, when you have all the options in front of you, and you get to kind of decide what order you're going to do them in.
Exactly, and the numbers aren't ridiculous. You're looking at 1s and 4s, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not looking at 1 billion.
Yeah.
When you're looking at that big of a number, I feel like my mind just starts to kind of glaze over, and just the differences between like 1 billion and 1.5 billion.
Well, when they get that large, like I don't want to like interact with the game anymore. I just wait until I have enough to get to the next
Exactly.
stage.
I'm like, just let me do the thing. But it flips it on you, and then it allows you to kind of begin at not the beginning again, but it's different.
Yeah.
So what now you're looking to do is you're obviously looking to gain more currency, but then as you shoot the planet with these potato wedges, you get little targets that you're supposed to hit, and the planet turns into some type of an object, like a flower or something like that, and you have to continue to hit the objects. And when you do this with Earth, the potatoes then come up, they're like, great, do 4 more. So you're like, okay. Then you go to all the different planets, and you go around shooting them. Now, this is, in my first playthrough, where I ran into some serious performance issues. Now, you didn't encounter any of this at all.
Yeah, none at all. I was playing on a Galaxy S7.
Yeah, and I'm playing on a Nexus 6P. So both relatively new phones. Yours slightly newer than mine, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. Not too far off, though.
But they're pretty close to each other specs-wise. So I don't think it's on my phone's end that I was having performance issues. Maybe they could just have some issues with Nexus phones, maybe. I don't know.
Who knows?
But I think part of the issue was the fact that I bought about 1,000 potato wedges.
Yeah, your game broke a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? Because it didn't progress you.
No. So what happened was, once I got Earth the first time, it didn't allow me to go anywhere else. It didn't come up with the prompt to go to Neptune, which is what
Mars.
Mars. Yeah. Oh no, wait. I got to Mars, and then it wouldn't allow me to go to Neptune.
Okay,
that was it. Yeah, and it wouldn't let me progress further, and like, it wasn't going anywhere. The slowdown was ridiculous. It would barely not move. You know what I mean? So I just ended up uninstalling the game, reinstalled. Didn't know that was going to destroy all my data, but whatever. I started from fresh again. I was able to get through. I did run into one issue, though, where the text started to overlay on top of itself. Yeah, I know. It seems like I had all the issues, but so I took screenshots of everything. Well, I can't take screenshots to slow down, but I did take screenshots of that stuff if you're interested in checking it out to see my false claims. But so then the game gets really interesting from there. So your goal is to get these 4 more, and then what happens then? I kind of forget.
So you get the message from Potato Man to do more, and then you have to go to each of the planets.
Yep.
And expand them out, and once you expand them out, then it like reveals the core.
Right.
And you need to hit that.
Yep.
And then you can move on to the next planet.
And then what do you do at the end? I forget. There's like a prompt you press, but like, does it creates some type of pattern or something, or?
So yeah, after you do to a planet, it moves to like a specific spot around the sun. So eventually it forms. I don't know if it was like a pentagram or what it was, but
some type of shape. Yeah.
Oh no, because
did it all line up or?
Yeah, I think you do 4 planets in total.
Yeah.
And then they all pull one of the other planets so that they do like straight lines.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, so they form a circle around the sun. And yeah, I don't recall exactly either, but
you do some type of prompt to then enter into that, or you do something with it and interact with it to try and find your universe. So it kind of takes like a Rick and Morty approach.
Oh yeah, whenever it does that, it creates a thing for your ship to use. I forget what it's called, but
yeah. So
multiverse transporter, maybe?
Something goofy like that. So then you can go through a bunch of different universes to try and find yours. Now initially you start pressing it, and it gets kind of ridiculous, and then the computer takes over, and I feel like he's like, okay, time to graphic design. You know what I mean? Like,
well, like when you're pressing it, you just go from like Earth to Earth and get these kind of cool, different, weird Earth things that obviously aren't your home, and then when it takes away, it like basically turns into this video.
The video that's like super trippy. It's got the music going. I was listening to it through headphones, which I was happy I was doing. Because I played a lot of the game actually not listening to the music, just on silence, like at work for a second, pop it out, press a couple buttons, put it back in. It was a cool experience. You know, you got like an old man's head floating around, and you got all these ridiculous shapes and objects, and then you end up finding Earth, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then it ends. Yeah. Credits. And then there was a lot of people that QA tested the game, but it is made by one dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other guy who did the music.
So now, what's your overall experience here? What'd you take away from this?
I really, really enjoyed it.
Okay.
I think mostly because of that end sequence, because that like was just amazing.
It was cool.
I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was really awesome, and like the music for it was so good. I enjoyed that so much. That cutscene, like whenever you first go into the sun as well and find the potato Earth people afterwards, like that was hilarious.
It's really good. This really game, well done too.
Yeah, this game like surprised and entertained me.
Yeah,
like multiple times, and that was freaking awesome.
Yeah, well, it definitely took the clicker genre and pushed it a little bit. Honestly, I was a little disappointed that it didn't push it further into more of an experience, because I expected more from Devolver Digital, but ultimately, it's one dude.
Yeah.
And, he just started making games 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm going to say that I loved it, because I don't think I liked it as much as you did, but I definitely would recommend it.
Yeah. It's like, it took us like 2 days.
Yeah. About 2 days, and it's like a $3 game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or I think on Steam you can buy it for $5 with the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Which I'd recommend as well.
Oh, the soundtrack is rad. Again, we do have the Spotify link in the description, because it's good. Just jam out to that.
Yeah. I don't know. I definitely agree with doing more, but I don't think like the experience route is how I would take it.
Right.
Really, it didn't do much beyond what is very standard clicker fare.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I meant.
Yeah, so I feel like they could have done more with that for
it's
sure.
just, given the promotional material for it, I thought it was going to be very meta, and it wasn't like that much. There was a bit of, like, I don't know, the upgrades you could get were kind of pretty standard fare. Like, you would get satellites or like potato towers or something like that.
Yeah, I liked how they showed up on the planets.
Yeah,
that was
cool. That was cool. It had a very minimalist art style where it was literally just like basically white pixels.
Yeah,
were a lot of the things.
Well, it's also really cool because because you turn the sun into a black hole.
Yeah,
that increases. Well, you're increasing the mass of the sun, so to keep Earth in orbit, you need it to go faster and faster.
Yeah, so you got that rocket thruster on there that's just fucking pumping when you get the sun real big.
And whenever you put that rocket thruster on, it actually changes the Earth from 2D to 3D.
Which was really cool.
And you barely notice it until it starts rotating, and all those things that you put on now have like legitimate 3D placements.
Yeah.
And that's really sweet to see that change.
Yeah, he definitely, you can tell, like we said many times, you can tell he's an artist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he does it very well.
Yeah, especially in graphic design. Like, I don't know, there's something even just satisfying about seeing Earth cast a shadow on space.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's not how it works at all, but, like, it just looks right.
It looked really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. I was interested in the game, certainly. It wasn't like, it's not mind-blowing. I'm not going to say it's my favorite game. by any stretch. It probably, I don't think it would crack the top 100. We did a top 100 list not too long ago.
Yeah.
So check that out if you want. It's really long. But I don't know. I would definitely recommend someone play it, and it's a good way to eat up quite a few hours.
Yeah.
But like, as far as changing everything about the clicker genre, no.
No, definitely.
Is that asking too much from it? Maybe.
You're
not expecting every game to reinvent the wheel, right?
Yeah, but I do hope it affects the clicker genre.
Yeah.
And people being like, oh, shit, this actually works really well with story. Like, getting little story bits along your progress in a clicker is actually pretty sweet.
Yeah, I hope so too. But, I mean, the Google Play version does only have like 1,000 downloads right now, which kind of upset me. I was like, what the hell? Like,
yeah, I know.
Critics are loving this game.
Yeah, I Googled it on YouTube, and it's like 5 videos for it or something like that.
Yeah, which I was really disappointed
Yeah.
about. Not because of like click through for us or anything, or because we want to do popular games. It's just I feel like this game
should get more attention because it did
should
something
absolutely-
cool, new, and interesting, and did it well.
Exactly. And it was one guy being like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna make a game," and he did. And
Yeah.
I think he did a damn fine job.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah, I don't know. I certainly hope to see more from Jake in the future.
Yeah.
And I hope Devolver continues to go down this more experimental path that they're claiming.
Yeah, so is like the experimental thing like a whole new section on their site?
Yeah, it is. And that's the only game in there.
Yeah, that definitely hints towards them wanting to put more in there, which is pretty sweet.
Well, this may be like a testing the water scenario, right? To
Yeah,
be
it
like,
could be.
is it going to sell well? Then maybe let's get weirder.
Yeah.
Because Devolver does, they publish weird shit.
They do.
That's kind of what they're known for. You know, they made my Titan Souls.
Yeah.
There's a crazy Let's Play on our channel. You can watch my mind just.
Titan Souls review. Yeah.
It's not a review as much as it's just a man going insane.
Yeah.
A man going insane. Yeah, which is basically this podcast.
Oh,
Just
thank
two
you.
men going insane. But yeah. Yeah, man. Do you have anything more to say about it?
I don't really think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think it's
I
all
think-
the things.
I think we're going to end this one off. Now, we
Yeah.
have been Namecast?
Yeah.
Question mark? Yes.
Yeah, we're still Namecast.
We're still
Jesus.
Namecast. No, I'm just being a goofball. Yeah, so you can go check it out. Okay, now Kevin told me to do a thing.
I can do the thing.
You can do the
I
thing
can
if
do
you
the
want.
thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
do you got it nailed down?
Sure.
Let's see. Don't fuck
I'm
it up.
going to nail it down by making
Okay.
it up on the spot.
Nail it.
So we are on Google Play and iTunes. If you're listening to us on there, please
Shatner comma.
leave a rating,
Yep.
a review,
Yep.
because that helps a lot.
Throw a rock through a
Apparently,
window.
we're just learning still, so I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe.
I heard that's a thing. We're also on YouTube. Leave a like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, beat someone up.
Definitely comment. Fuck, I love comments.
I love comments.
fantastic.
I do. We always get Refugee. We always get Ryan. And
Yeah.
I like reading that shit.
Yeah.
It's cool because we talk for so long. We talk for like an hour. It's nice to hear you guys talk too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's, it's really fun seeing like commenters kind of like comment as they watch the video.
Yeah,
like seeing
yeah.
the progression of them go through the video.
I
Sweet.
wish YouTube does kind of like the SoundCloud thing where they time code where the comment was
Yeah.
put. Because like sometimes I'll see something and he'll be like, "Oh, you cheaters," and I'm like, "What's he talking about?"
Yeah.
And then we have to think about like, where would he be in the video then?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Probably here. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. But yeah, super fun, awesome community.
Yeah.
And speaking of community, also want to plug
Cartridge
Cool
Club.
people. Cartridge Club. Yeah. Check them out. It's a community full of gamers, various types, shapes,
Types and shapes and sizes and
sizes.
stuff.
Yeah, all different people, and lots of very interesting podcasts and other things on there.
Yeah. I
Good
mean,
place to be.
as some of you may know, we're pretty tight with Bonus Barrel.
Yeah.
Getting tighter. Gonna take them down. We're doing it, Kev.
How do we take them down?
I don't know. Probably a trebuchet. So
Make some DMCA like complaints on their channel.
join us in our takedown of Bonus
Ah.
Barrel. We'll catch you guys next time as we post every single week. Have
Yeah.
a good one, guys, and keep on booping.
Oh yeah, next week is Inside.
Inside. We're
Yeah,
going inside.
reminder.
We're going to finish inside. Oh, God.
Oh.
Oh, Jesus.
Play us out.